Hello and welcome everyone. So in this video what I'm going to do is create an add-on, and I just want this for myself, but I'll record it and sort of walk you through some of it. So essentially I'm a little bit tired of going into edit mode, adding this loop cut, deleting half the mesh, and then going in here and adding a mirror modifier and then setting the clipping. I just would rather have like an in panel that has my stuff in it, like some quick tools like that. And I'll just continue to add to it here on this YouTube series. And if you're interested, I have a full course video link in the description, and it will take you from not knowing any Python all the way to creating complete add-ons, which actually, if I just apply this right here, I'll just show you. This is one of the tools that we create in the add-on. So if you want to know how to make this right here, yeah, video link is in the description, and it's like 15 hours long. You'll learn everything you need to know. So anyway, I'll just show you how to get this set up. So I'm just going to close Blender now that you know what I'm going to make in this video, and I'm just going to create a new repository right here. And what I like to do is start off with GitHub desktop, and that's Blender stuff. Let's just do add, and then I'm going to say create new repository, and I'll say KTools. For Kenzo CG tools, so maybe KC. No, that's cool. Just KTools, and we'll just say Blender add-on. And I'll update, I'll make it a little more specific later on, but anyway, it's good for now. Repos, just throw it in there. Initialize with the README, sure. Get ignore, it's going to be Python. All right, the license, we'll just do GNU, which is this GPL is general public license. It's all good. So I'll hit create repository. And if you don't have this, just search for GitHub desktop. You'll just need to make a GitHub account. It's all free, even this, and it works on all operating systems as well. So we have KTools there. So now I'm going to right click on that and say open with code. And that's going to come from Visual Studio. So Visual Studio Code. There's Visual Studio, which is an IDE. This is Visual Studio Code. All right, and I'll just show you. If you go over here to extensions, what you'll need to do is just go ahead and download the extension Blender Development and the Python extension. I also have the theme OneDark Pro, so the choice is yours if you would like to get the theme or not, that is. So if you want to make an add-on, you just need this init file. There's two different types of add-ons. There's like the old school one, I guess you would say, and that's what I'm going to make here. BL info. And it's just a dictionary. I'm going to actually open up another add-on that I made in the past and just use it as reference. So yeah, but there's like these there's extensions and add-ons, but so I'll just copy this. Well, let me just paste it over. So instead of polyops, it'll be KTools. And also you can just convert your Blender workflow utilities, Kenzo CG, it's Blender 5.0. You can convert an add-on to an extension like extremely easily. It doesn't require anything, hardly at all. And let's see here. And in the course I made, I also show how to do that. So I do have a registration, so I don't really do it like this anymore. So I'll just hold off on this for a moment. And that looks good. I'll just put pass. And then the usual folder structure is going to be props. And then I'll just chuck an init file in there. These init files, which is double underscore init and then .py. What that is, it's the module initialization file. So like props is a folder. So that whole folder will become a module, and then the init is like the file that will be called by Python when it initializes. It's the first file that's loaded, essentially. If you don't have that file type inside of a folder, you can't import it either. It doesn't treat it as a module. You have to have that init. It's basically the module constructor. That file gets loaded first. So props, ops, and double underscore init, like that. Ops, so props, ops, and oh shoot, I know I have, utils, of course. Utils, like that, and I'll just copy this one and paste it in there. Do I want anything else? Let's see, props, gizmos, interfaces. Oh, I'll do interfaces. That's definitely going to be needed, interfaces. And I'm not going to go crazy in this video and make like tons of stuff, but I definitely want to make that one tool I was just telling you about with the mirror. So I'll just say mirror.py, that works. And I'm just going to go over here and get an operator. Let's see. I'll just take the static test one. Yeah. That looks good. Sure. I don't think I'm going to keep this little comment stuff going. Let's see if I had it in this one. No, I'll do like this though. Where I do like having these comments that like kind of separate stuff. So instead of registers, be imports like that, and then this would be operator like that right there. And I'm just gonna take all this stuff out. And well, actually, let me back up a second. I'm gonna keep in this. Let's see, garbage collector math. Yeah, that looks fine. And I also these days use this little parentheses right here, and I line them up like this. It's a little easier to tell when I'm importing. Before, if you just have them all in a line like that, you can't really read it that easily. But now, like when it's lined up vertically like this, it's a lot easier to read. Alright, so I got a few things here. I definitely won't, well, I might need it. I don't know yet. Just thinking if I need that pointer property or not. So this is the operator class. So I'll just say KT for KTools. OT stands for operator, and then I'll just say mirror setup. Well, it's just simple mirror. Let's just leave it as mirror. Now this is the BLID name, so it'd be bpy.ops. And then let's say it'd be KT for KTools, and then I'll just say mirror. And the label be KT and mirror like that. I put the KT in the BL label just so I don't override anything that's already there. And we'll just say KTools mirror like that. No big deal really. Let's see. We got poll. Let's just say return context. Well, we'll have to say if context.mode is equal to edit mesh, we'll return true. Return true. If elif, well, come on now, elif context.mode is equal to object mode, or just object, and then we'll say if context.active active object, need this, we'll do an is instance to check the type. Come on, is instance, and bpy.types.object. Just because active object can be none, it can return none, the none type, and we want to check that it is the actual bpy.types.object. And then if it is, we'll say if context.active object dot type is equal to mesh, return true. But if all that fails, then we'll return false. So that's our poll. And I'll back this out for now. And yeah, I'll just back this out for now. Not sweating anything over that right now. Invoke, I don't need that. Alright, I just need to execute. And alright, and then we won't be doing any drawing just yet. We can say layout equals self.layout, just get that variable ready to use. Just giving myself some empty space down there. Alright, so what we got to do is basically copy this and just get the object itself. So context.mode equals edit mesh. So we're going to say obj equals none. And then in here, all we have to do to get the object is say obj equals context dot edit object. that will be object there, and then in this case, obj would be equal to the context.active, not operator, active object. I must have put the wrong thing in there. Active object, yeah. All right, there we go. Active object, making sure I got it all set up properly. And in this case, we're not going to return false. We'll actually just return canceled if it's not right. So we'll say if not is instance obj, and then bpy.types.object return, and we'll say return canceled, like that. All right. So we can make this a little shorter right here. This bpy.types.object stuff. I'll just import the type right here. So from bpy.types import, and just, you never know, we might actually just go ahead and import the mesh as well, like that. And also context. That way I can do my type hinting. Alright, just go here to the end of the line. And I program a lot slower in the course, by the way, if you do want to pick that up. This is going full speed right here. So let's see here. So we need to go ahead and create our registers for our operators. So we'll just say import bpy, say def. I'll just copy these functions right here. Register. Let's see. I'm just registering the operator itself, but we also need to go ahead and import. We need to import the actual operator. So from dot mirror import, and then it'd be ot mirrors. We're going to say classes equals a tuple, and we'll just put that in there. Put a comma just to make sure it turns into a tuple. If you take that out, it becomes an expression. Put that in there, it becomes a tuple. Alright, let's see, let's go back right here. I'm going to use the other add-on just so I don't have to. Alright, let's see, I go to registers. I think I did it all in one big file in this one, so I don't want to do that right here. Registers, class register, where's that come from? That comes, well, I don't mean like literally, I want to see where I imported it. Let's see, alright, there we go. So I'll just import this. Alright, register class and unregistered class. I'll just paste it. Delete the unregister, or the register one for that one. Delete the unregister in this one. Register class, and then we'll say for CLS and classes. Alright, and then just put this here, CLS, and just copy that for loop right there. Put it in here. Except for when you unregister, you want to do it in reverse. So we'll put reverse just to be safe. Unregistered class CLS. Alright, now we can call that register. Let me actually go back to the main init here. I'll just copy this and paste it right here. And I'll bring over the import comment just because it looks nicer. Alright, I don't really like how everything's bumped up to the top of the script, you know. I like this because it kind of brings things down just a little bit, you know, and it's not like empty space. It kind of categorizes things. So anyway, that's our imports, and you got register. We just need to go to the main initialization file now and just say, let's see, from dot import ops, and we'll just say ops dot register. And then when it unregisters, we'll just say from dot ops unregister. Just call it like that. So this will register when this will be called when the add-on is registered. This one will be called when the add-on gets unregistered. Simple enough, right? Let's see here. I think, do I want one space or two? I'll just go with two. Try to keep up the same standard, you know, as I work. So if I put one space, I'm going to put one space. If I put two, I'm going to put two. I don't change it up between files to keep it the same. But you know what? I'm going to stick with the one space standard though. I will say that it does look a little too spaced out for me. So I do keep the things in between two spaces, like I keep functions away from each other by 2 spaces. But I'm saying, but these comment areas, I'm just gonna put 1 space, top and bottom. That's it. All right, which that's just a style thing anyway. Self-documenting code, All right, so we got our init stuff where it registers our add-on, calls into ops calls register. Get the class. We're just gonna create one file here. This is gonna be our add-on .py. This will be our add-on preferences, and I'll go to ops, and I'll just sort of copy this and bring that over to add-on. And we don't do execute or the poll in this case, though. It's just going to be draw OT, and then we'll say add-on. And instead of inheriting from operator, it'll import from add-on preferences. And I can actually just import this instead of trying to give it this full length. Let's see here, operator. All right, I'll get this out of here. Just put operator. There we go. All right, now it's nice and simple. So we need to say, I'm going to create a utils called addon.py, and I'll say import bpy, and we'll just go over here and do imports, bring that over, addons.bpy, and then I'll put one right here called functions. This is the utils. All right, so import, we'll say from, well, let's put that right here. We'll say from dot import add-on. That way it initializes that module. All right, don't be doing all that though. All right, that looks good. We just need to make sure we import our utils as well. So I'll do that first. From dot import utils. And sometimes I can chuck in a little register and unregister here, but in the utils, just in case I need it. Because sometimes in the utilities, I have callbacks and stuff that are hooked up to Blender, the bpy.app.handlers, and the utils might need this chance to call register and unregister. So I just go ahead and chuck it in there, and I'll say utils.register. Even if it's empty, it doesn't hurt anything. And I will unregister that last. In this case, you always register whatever you register first, like reverse the order. All right, so if you go utils, then ops, then do ops, then utils. All right, so that looks good. We also need to do our properties here. So utils, let's just copy this one and bring that over to props. And we don't have a mirror in this one, but we do have a dot add-on, and we'll do KTOT add-on. There we go. All right, so our props is going to get registered now, but we need to change this. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'll just go to utils, add-on, and let's see, add-on name. Let's just take this right here over. All right. So user prefs, I'll just change that to prefs. Exists, I don't care about that. Version, no, I don't care about that either. All right, and I'll just change this to a function actually, def, and I'll say name, and I'll take this over and just say return name, and I need to update this. There you go. This is a main area. Like, you would change how you do this in the extension version, but anyway, not doing an extension right now. So in props, I need to import utils. Wait, not here. Add-on, yeah. So I'll just say from dot import. No, it'd be from dot import utils, and then I can just come down here and say BLID name, and we'll say utils.addon.name. Alright, and this is going to be KT. I don't think you do the label. What do you do in this one? The add-on preferences. Add-on. Dev. ID name. I think that's all it needs. ID name. Alright. That is there just in case I need it. So context, let's see. I won't need the mesh and the object in this. Alright. And I probably won't need this or any of that. I'll leave the properties here though. Alright, mirror. Let's see what we got going on here. So I need to get interfaces registered as well. So I'm going to get me a 3D panel real quick. Interfaces, Boolean main. I don't even think this one has it. I think in the add-on course that I created, it does have it. Lab, are you guys? So anyway, I'll actually go to the add-on that I created in the course and use that. So that's all I'm going to pull from that one probably. Actually, there's some other good stuff in there. Who knows? Wait, this is the import. So let's do view 3D panel.py. Alright. And let's go up here and use this. So yeah, it's like whatever, I'm not selling you on this, but whatever I did in the add-on course, it's basically how I make everything, so it's pretty legit. Alright. And it took, a long time to get all that narrowed down. So, menu. And we'll say KT for KTools, MT for menu. Oh shit, this is the menu. I want the panel. I don't really care about the menu right now. So I'll just do this right here. Get this out of the way, protect it while I'm doing this, and then bring it back down. I'll just import BPY as well. Import BPY. That looks pretty good. Utils, this is going to be KT, PT panel. Label be KTools. That's like the name that shows up. Category is going to be KT. I would say KTools. Header layout expand. That's pretty good. And we'll say true for that for now. I don't really care about the poll on this. Layout.operator. Now that's what I want. So I want to put the mirror operator name in there. So KT mirror. Interfaces. No, here it is. Alright. Now we need to make sure our interfaces are getting registered. So I'll copy this. Go over here, paste it in, and we'll do view 3D, and then we'll do KT PT operations. Wait, I'm gonna just call this so that'd be KTools panel operations. We'll call this view 3D panel. Let's do lowercase d. That looks good. Alright, KTools, that's fine. There we go. Alright, so we have everything, I believe, registering. Let's go and let's close all these tabs. So, close all, and I'm just going to make sure that everything is initialized. So we'll say init, and, wait, no, I'm not. That's searching. Sorry. Init. Commit 9 files, we'll say publish, and I'll make it public so that you can use it. So just check my GitHub, the link is in the video description, and just look for KTools. Now let me actually check something. So let me go, not to Gumroad, but to GitHub. I think I might have one called KTools. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really care if you see anything that I have on here. There's nothing, uh, there's nothing, that scary. I mean, come on now. How many different spots is there? KBT. No, I don't see any KTools. And make sure I didn't put in another repository online, that has the same name. So anyway, KTools, Blender add-on, Blender add-on. That's fine for now. Publish. So whenever you see this video, you can just go to the GitHub, go to my GitHub. It's in the link. The link is in the video description. Just look for KTools. You'll find it. And you can download it and use it. Didn't mean to do that. And get this artificial intelligence out of here. Control-Shift-P, Blender start. We'll load up Blender. Just make sure everything is registering correctly. Warning, the script has been written with version 5.02 and might not function as thoroughly. This is 5.01. What you talking about? Oh, let's just put that to 0. Darn insert. I gotta get a better keyboard. What is going on? This keyboard is, it's like the craziest thing. It goes, I hit insert and it turns off numlock at the same time. So you get a double problems, double trouble. All right, so dev, no, that's not what I care about. Dev, where's that coming from? Interfaces, view 3D panel. Oh, we didn't even register this. So let's do utils, ops, and then you're gonna do props. So from dot import props, and then we'll say props dot register. And I think you would want to do props first. There we go. So utils gets registered, then the properties, then the operators, then the menus that draw the operators from dot import interfaces dot register. All right, so I'm gonna actually I'm gonna be a little something. And I'm going to do this, like, put this down here. All right, first thing, you want to get rid of your interfaces. They're just drawing things. They don't have dependencies in the reverse order anyway. In this order, they need to come last because they're drawing operators. And so you need to register your operators. Then your operators rely on properties. So you need to register your properties. And your properties might need, your utilities done. So utils, props, ops, interfaces. That's the dependency order. Then in reverse, it's like interfaces are drawing the operators. So get rid of the interfaces, and then boom, the drawing for the operators is done. Who cares? And then the operators, can be removed, and it was relying on the properties, and then the properties get removed. You know what I mean? So you want to unregister it in a sensible order. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, okay, so I did get an error now. So register already been registered. The error was because it just wants to be stupid. Let's just undo this. Let me get rid of this terminal. I think it was just giving an error because I had re-registered something. There was an error. All right, I do have an error. So what is this thing? All right, already registered subclass PT view 3D panel. All right, already registered. Where's the error at? What line? All this mumbo jumbo. Just tell me the line so I can get busy on it. Interfaces line 20 in the init line 20. All right. KTPT view 3D panel. KTPT view 3D panel. All right. Let's see. VL label. Space type category. Is there something I'm missing here? All right. I'm gonna go to the example. Init. It doesn't look like. Sometimes you just don't see it. View 3D panel, classes, register class, registers the class. Already registered. How did you already register it? KTools init line 32. So unregister. Oh, I'm calling register again. Unregister. I'm sure you fine folks saw that. All right. So I definitely had a little error. Sometimes you do have to save it a couple times to like get it to remove. It's just better to close it sometimes when you have registration problems like that. Like it registers a class and then your add-on loses a reference to it because it re-registers but didn't remove the old one first. So then you get a bunch of junk that's in there, and sometimes it's just better to start over or restart Blender anyway. All right. So our poll operator is working, or well, our poll method is working. So we got that selected. Looks good. What if I go to edit mode? Still good. What if I got multiple objects? And then let's say I got a curve. All right. Let's just do like that. That's right. Make this active. That's right. 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 I think we got a winner. Sculpt mode. Don't calculate it. All right. Object mode. All right. So let's go ahead and mirror this thing. Okay. So there's a couple different ways that could go about it. Now I did say I wanted to, put a line down the middle and delete half the side and then mirror. So we can maybe do that. And that's not too difficult. So we'll go ahead and, slice this thing up. So let's just go ahead and let me upload this change real quick. I'll say working state. It's a working state, but albeit a little boring. So ops mirror. All right, execute. Here we are, and we know that obj is a good valid object at this point. So we'll say mesh equals obj.data. And did I bring in BMesh? Oh, I did. So we'll say BMesh. All right, BM equals BMesh dot. Let's see, from edit mesh. If it's in edit mode, and then otherwise it'll be BMesh equals BMesh dot new, and then you will say use operators equals true, but then we can say BMesh dot from mesh, and we'll pass in the mesh. So this is object mode, this is edit mode, and I go over all this stuff in much more detail in the course. But as always, I like to create a little utility. So we'll call it BMU, BMesh utilities. All right, and I'll just copy this, paste that in there, and delete. Just close that. Let's bring over our math stuff and this BMesh. Let's bring over all that. All right, I'm gonna bring over these types. I need a couple of these types right here for sure, and I don't need these functions in here. And let's make sure I import that. So from dot import BMU, and I'll close that down, and then we'll say def get, or we'll say open BMesh like that, and we'll just pass in the context, and we'll say context, and then we'll say obj, and we'll make it obj like that, and then we'll just do like a little bit of type checking. So we'll say if is instance context like that, and we'll say if is instance obj and object. Then we'll do we're just going to basically get the we're going to get like the mesh depending on the state that the Blender's in, whether it's edit mesh or not. Now there is ways to do this without context. I'm debating if I want to do that, and I guess I will. So we'll just pass in the mesh. Let's just make it even easier. Less is more these days. All right, mesh, and we'll say if is instance. Sometimes I gotta realign my fingers, and then we'll say if mesh dot is edit mode, then we know we're in edit mode. then we'll say else. All right, and then for the else, we'll say bm equals bmesh.new, and we'll just make sure we got our operators. Use operators equals true set, just in case Blender ever decides to change it to the default to false. We don't have to update this. So bm equal bm dot from mesh. That will load in our mesh data into the bmesh, and then we'll just come down here and say return bmesh. But at the very top, we'll set bmesh equals to none, so we initialize it to nothing, to none, and then we'll just, you know, if we capture it, we capture it, but otherwise it will just return none anyway. So then we'll say bm equals bmesh dot from edit mesh, and we'll say mesh like that. Now we can also update some, you know, indices and do all that stuff, which I'll write in a separate function, but then I'll just make sure we close it. So def close, or close, we'll say yeah, let's do that. Close bmesh, and let's take in the mesh and the bmesh. Like that, and always make sure bmesh is the first thing we pass in when we're in this module. So I need to go to bmesh. We'll say from bmesh.types import, and I like to bring over the bmesh, actual bmesh class, and then we'll say bmesh vert. I like to bring over some of these because I use them in list comprehension. Bmesh face, there we go, vert edge face. Alright, so let's do bmesh right here, bmesh like that. Alright, so let me double check the add-on that we actually wrote, and mesh, not that one, open, update, so is wrapped and to mesh. Alright, so we'll say, we'll just do a couple type checks. So if is instance bmesh, because, you know, these little variables and stuff like bmesh, like, you never know, it could close or something in the background, that memory could get released, and you always want to make sure everything is valid. So if is instance mesh, and if bm dot is valid, is valid. It's weird, the more I typed it in, the less it wanted to show me the thing that it was supposed to. Then we can close it. We'll say if bm dot is wrapped. Alright, then we'll say bmesh dot update, what is it called? Dang. Let's see, it's update from update. Oh, it's just update edit mesh. Gotcha. Alright, bm is wrapped, and we'll say bmesh dot update from edit mesh. We'll just pass in the mesh, and loop triangles true, destructive true, might as well. Alright, and then if it's elif, well, let's see, else, we'll say bm dot to mesh, pass in that mesh there, and then let's see, if it's wrapped, then we'll say bm dot free, and we'll just say bmesh equals none, just to make sure we got rid of that, and then delete. Well, I won't do the delete call here, that looks fine, but I'm going to actually make a function for updating. So def update bmesh, and just end up passing in all this stuff again, really. And this one won't type check because it's going to be a little safer to deal with. Alright, we'll just, you know, assume that it's going to be safer. So bm dot is valid, if bm dot is wrapped, update, we'll just I guess we'll not check that. Alright, so that is edit mode, and this is object mode, And we'll say we'll just do update BMesh and mesh like that. And we'll say if BM dot is wrapped. We'll say if it's not BM dot wrap, then we'll say BM dot we'll say BM dot free. Alright, so we'll say that will just get rid of that. Alright, BM equals none. We'll just make sure we have that in there. Alright, so we'll just say this is for object mode right here. And this is object mode. This is edit mode. Alright, that's the edit mode, object mode version. Return it. This instance, mesh is edit mode, BM, BMesh, mesh, if it's instance is valid, update BMesh. If not BM.wrap, BM free. I think this is looking good. Update BMesh. Now there's one other thing here. Now I'll go to the other add-on. And that's polyops here. I'm just going to copy something from BMesh. BMU. I wrote a whole bunch of BMesh stuff for this one. It's online too on GitHub if you want to look at it. It's like a lot more complicated than what I'm doing right now. A whole lot more complicated, but regardless. Last select flush history, BMesh select flush mode, normal update. You know, I'll just take this whole thing. It's looking pretty good. It handles a lot of stuff. All right. So ensure BMesh type tables normal selections. So this is just like guaranteeing a bunch of stuff. If BM, all right, we can take that back, and BM dot is valid. I don't care about returning true or false right now. Tool select mode, context, mesh select mode. This sets the select mode for the BMesh. So like, you know how you have this right here? All right. Well, BMesh has a state that's like that as well right here, BM.select mode. So what it's doing is it's taking this and syncing up the version in memory to this. And once it syncs it up, then it'll say select history, it'll say select flush mode right here. So it'll take the version that is in BMesh memory, sync it up to this, and then flush the selection. And it took me a while. I was like, what? Flush selection? I mean, you know, is there a toilet or something in here I'm not looking at? But what it means is when you flush a selection is if you select that vert and that vert, well, now you have an edge that is selected, okay? But all you're doing is selecting vertices. We don't have edge select on, but it selected the edge. So in BMesh, if you select that vert and select that vert and don't flush your selection, it will, like, you can't even do it in the editor, but it'll select that vert and that one, and it'll have a black line right here like this, you know, on this side. It won't be selected. That right there can make Blender crash. So just, you know what I mean? You got to make sure you select your flush, or select flush mode. Select flush mode. Select flush. I can't say it. I'm going to give up on trying to say it. Select flush mode. I did it. All right. Ensure BMesh. I'll just ensure BMesh. I'm just going to leave it short. All right. Let's go ahead and make sure we got our type hinting in here. And maybe I want to put this down a level as well. And do something like this. I'm not big on having all these indents and stuff, but it's the way of Python. Anyway, and it's just, it lets me know that I'm checking some stuff. Kind of redundant, really. Yeah, it's a little redundant checking all this all the time, but when it comes to BMesh, it's almost like keep your function short and sweet, do your type checking, make sure things are valid, just, you know, keep it safe. BMesh is a place for a lot of crashing, a lot of instant crashes too. You'll get memory access violations and all sorts of stuff with BMesh if you're not careful with it, because it is a direct pointer into memory, especially the edit mode version, because see, it says from edit mesh. You're actually borrowing that from the version. Like Blender holds Blender has a pointer to a BMesh object in memory. It's set to, it's like not here, it's not initialized, but when you go to edit mode, Blender creates that. And so if you get a BMesh from the edit mesh, it's just going to let you borrow that one. All right, so this mesh structure in memory has a pointer to nothing, or it has a pointer to you know, a nullified BMesh object. But you go to edit mode, it creates one, it still puts it in there, and you're just borrowing it. So if you accidentally, you know, vandalize if you vandalize that, it will give you a memory access violation. Essentially, you got to watch out for, especially with the garbage collector, you know, because you might delete, you might be done with your BMesh, and you might have called all this right here, you know, or update, and, you know, done what you did, but then, you know, you might have this variable BM sitting around somewhere. And well, the user might have went to object mode already, and then the Python garbage collector comes in and tries to clean that up, and then boom, it hits your pointer that was pointing to some memory that's not there anymore, and that's how you can get a quick crash. The best way to fix that is always set it to none, and you know, then obviously don't try to reference it again. And so once it's set to none, even in the code, just toggle object in edit mode. Just toggle it. All right, just call bpy.ops.object.set mode and set it to object mode, and then set it back to edit mode, and that will clear that memory. And you can also call, I would do both of them really. You can import GC. That's the garbage collector, and then all you have to do is gc.collect, and that will run the garbage collector. But I'm not going to do that right now. Anyway, ensure BMesh. So I'm just going to leave that like it is and call it when I need it. So let's go over here and go to mirror. And we're just going to get the BMesh like this now. So BM equals utils. I don't think I even brought it over yet. Nope. So from import utils. I just bring it over like that. I get a little confused when people have like massive amounts of imports and there's just functions all over the place, because when you just bring it over, I don't know, I don't care about the memory consumption, if it's higher or not, whatever. So utils, right? Now I know utils.bmu, you know, it's all right here. Unless your utilities is going to get, you know, it's going to be consuming a gigabyte, I wouldn't even worry about it. And, you know, this is like simple Python scripts. It's not, even if you have a pretty big add-on, it's not going to consume that much memory. People have multiple gigabytes of RAM sitting around unused most of the time. All right. So anyway, BM equals utils dot, and then BMU dot open BMesh. There we go. And you can use a context manager as well with this stuff. I'm just not going to do that right now. And always make sure that I close BMesh. So utils.bmu.close BMesh BM, and pass in the mesh as well. All right. So this will update everything, but what we need to do is basically bisect the BMesh. So let's just go write that function now. So def bisect, bisect. Anyway, that's good enough. And we'll just pass in this. All right. So I think I have, I'll just go to the docs, the BMesh docs. Blender API docs, and scroll down to BMesh. Here it is. And well, I don't know where all that junk, but here we go. BMesh to operators, and it's just bisect. It's not in alphabetical order. I don't know what kind of order it's in. It's in whatever order they programmed it, I guess. There's a couple bisects here. Bisect plane, that's what I'm going to use. Alright, so bisect, boom, there we go. And we'll just say bisect half. Let's see, so it'd be utils.bmu.cut in half. You know, cut in half just sounds so, I don't know. It sounds like you're going to have some, you know, you're going to be here with some duct tape or something. Anyway. So let me look at this. So we'll say bisect. We got to specify because I'm going to make it cut it right in half. And it also needs to take in, well, it'll need to take in the, it'll need to take in the matrix as well. Let's just pass in, I don't know what we need to do. Well, I do, but, you know, I'm just, how I want to do it is another question. All right, distance, that's all fine. We'll leave it. I'm just going to space this out a little bit, so it's easier to read. All right. So geometry is going to be everything. So it's going to be self dot, well, not self, what am I saying? bm dot verts. We'll do a list slice plus bm dot edges. Do a slice there, bm dot faces. And that way we can combine all the geometry because we're going to basically cut everything in half. Now we need to do the plane coordinate, all right, because this is going to use a mathematical plane to cut the mesh in half. And how I want that is right at the center. So plane normal is more like what I'm worried about probably. So let's look at, I think all we need to do is pass in a 0 vector here. But the thing is, we'll see. I'll need to look at that. So plane coordinate needs to be in local space, though. That's the issue. So you know what? I guess that's fine. The plane coordinate in local space would just be 0, 0, 0, 0. Plane normal, however, depends on the axis. So we could take in, I guess, like a string. We'll say axis. Axis equals, and we'll just put you know, x for the default, and we'll type in it just in case that's not obvious. It's a string. All right, so we'll say if x, or we'll say if axis is equal to x. Let me put a pass real quick because we're about to do something. We're gonna say plane normal equals, and we'll just do a vector 0, 0, 0, which I'll put a 1 in there just for keepsake. All right, so because I don't want to put a, you know, a 0 vector in there for the normal. Okay, clear outer. We'll set that to true as well. Plane normal. I think all that looks right. We just need to get this set up. So plane normal would equal a vector. All right. If it's x, it's going to be a 1. So that's going to point in the x-axis. If it's negative x, then we're just going to put a negative 1. It's probably a more intelligent way to do all this, but, you know, I can only think so much. X, y, and y. 0. 0, and the yxy, and this is going to be negative 1, 0, so it's x, negative x, y, negative y. Just one more time for z, and we already did positive z, but you know, I'll show you how to do this twice and just make it a little bit more redundant for no reason. It's easier to read, you know. So x, negative x, y, negative y, z, negative z. Looks good to me. For now. Okay. So bisect. Slice half, or bisect. We'll just call it bisect. Simple bisect. That's what we'll call it. Simple bisect. In case I ever want to add another bisect in where you pass in the plane, normal, and coordinate, and you know, do a different type of bisect, like in the video course I made, link in the description. All right, anyway, not to keep selling that, but I do need some cells on it. Anyway, utils.bmu.simple bisect, and we'll pass in the BMesh, and the axis will just be X for now. I think we got enough to test this thing. Yeah, I think so. Now I'm gonna add properties so we can actually, you know, change some settings around. My live link, yeah. All right, KT mirror, boom. Did it do anything? Let's just check. Execute. Let's just print this out here. All right, let's make sure. It didn't even get here. What? What? Let's see here. Register, undo. Did I do something wrong in the operator? No. Let's see. Layout dot label. Just put something in there. All right. Oh well, I just added an error, of course. You would think label wouldn't need this, but it does. Okay, it's there. Let's check that. Oh, it does work in edit mode. So I don't think I'm working. I don't think I got the BMesh thing working all the way correctly yet. It's BMU open BMesh. So object mode. Oh, you know what? Close BMesh and then update BMesh. We need to. Well, it is right there. If BM dot is wrapped, let's just put a breakpoint right here. Update edit mesh. Update mesh. Yeah. I think that looks right. All right, we'll just break it right there. I never got to it. Update BMesh. BM dot is valid. Did I pass in BMesh? This is what happens when you go too fast on everything. Close BMesh. I passed in the mesh and the BMesh. Close BMesh. I did that in the right order, didn't I? BM mesh. BM mesh. All right. If BM dot is wrapped, let's just do this. Print. Put some junk in there. It's not even getting to this point. Update BMesh. Close BMesh. I'm calling close. If is instance, let's check this from there. Is this thing failing before it even gets here? Print 1. Oh, you know what? Why is that still there? Active operator. Dang. Alright, I'm going to just assume everything's going to work as we expected from here on out and just get rid of this stuff. Dang, active operator. What? I've never done that, ever. But today's my lucky day. Alright, here we go. Boom. Alright, BMesh object, BMesh has been removed. If not, BM dot is wrapped. And close. Tills, open BMesh. BMesh has been removed. That's what I was saying. Close BMesh, line 51. Update BMesh. Oh, I didn't mean to do that right there. I meant to do that over here because I want my update to update. I don't want my update to free it. Alright, so I give Blender that one. They win. I did it wrong. And it should be right now. Alright, we need to redraw the viewport because of that right there though. You saw that little lag. It didn't update until I moved it. So like watch. Push it. Nothing happens. What's up? And then boom, I move it and now it will. So simple fix. Just go to your operator and do context dot view layer dot update or tag redraw. No, it's area. What am I saying? Area dot tag redraw. And there you go. That will update the viewport. So I'll add in, let's try a monkey. Alright. Here we go. Now, that looks a lot better. Now with when you're testing BMesh, always be testing edit mode and toggling, and yeah, just checking for crashes because it'll come from nowhere. Plus, I might be over exaggerating a little bit unless y'all end up getting into some of the stuff I was messing with, which is definitely, you know, walking the fine line of doing too much with BMesh on the Python side. But anyway, I say that, but really it wasn't that bad. It's just something there's just some things you gotta be aware of. Okay, all that is good. I'm just checking some other things real quick. Okay, so let's do an enum. Okay, we're gonna make sure we got enum property. We do. I'm gonna say axis OPTS for options equals a tuple, and it's got to have 3 items. The first one is going to be, well, I think it's going to be, so we're going to put X, 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 and then this, I think it's an empty string. Let me make sure I'm doing that right, because, oh, hot doggy, who knows where I've got one of those at. I'm just going to do a global search. Alright, so I'll say enum. There's going to be a million of them. I like using enums. I know it's like underscore OPTS. That's what I normally do. Sort tabs, OPTS. Yeah, the last one's an empty string. Alright, just like that. Had it right. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, so then this one is, can you guess? Not double negative net X. That would be crazy. I don't know who's doing that one. Alright. I think Fred is, though. So this is going to be X. This is Y. Negative Y. Negative Y. Y. Z, negative Z. We don't have to do this last one. Alright. Z and negative Z. It's like a typing course. And I just like lining this stuff up. Make it readable. I don't want my code looking like some kind of, you know, ancient hieroglyphics. This is modern technology. All right, axes. Well, we're gonna just call it axis, and that's gonna be equal to. But we don't use equal. We say enum property, and we'll say name equals, and we'll say axis, like that. And let's see, axis, name axis, we'll say default equals, and we'll put X. And I'm going to put this, see this like underscore? That's PY Lance. It's like yellow, squiggly. So I'm going to put type :ignore. You can turn it off globally, but I haven't done that. I forgot. And I don't want to look it up. So I forgot how to do that also. So that's what we can do here, and then you can just do, oh my gosh, down here we'll do self.axis like that, and I'm going to draw that property. So I'll say layout.prop not prop.axis, self and axis, so it'll draw that. Alright, let's see what we got. And didn't like that. OT has an attribute axis. I'm just probably spelling stuff wrong somewhere. Well, I don't feel like I am this time. Axis. What line did it say? It wasn't finding it. Debug console as an axis. Bisect. Line 76. Line 76 right here. What do you mean it doesn't have it? What you mean? What you mean, dog? Self. I just, you know, put a breakpoint. I'm going to debug this for a second. And I don't know why, but it should have axis. Axis options. What the world? Maybe I'm not calling this correctly. I'm not calling it correctly. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put in another parameter that is required to get this enum to work. And I think it's this right here, options. Make sure. I'm going to check another add-on. It should just be items. It's items. Alright. I knew it was items. I knew it was items. Access options. There we go. Yeah. So it wasn't really registering that enum properly without those settings. And I normally like to set the items first and then give it its default. It just seems sensible. So let's try this. Get rid of this breakpoint now. There we go. Alright, now we got that working. Let's try in edit mode. What's this thing doing? It's adding all these doubles. We'll get rid of that here in a second. Let's try edit mode. Alright. And I would like it to be the reverse of what we got going on here. Like when it's on X, I want to keep the positive side. I don't want to keep the negative side. Alright, so I think that looks good though, all together, you know, all said. And also, you know, with all this stuff bouncing around, we can just put plus like that. I think that'll be okay. It's a little weird to put a plus sign, but you know, it will all be aligned in the UI because it's two characters, plus X, plus Y, minus Y, plus Z, minus Z. Alright, I think that does it for that. But alright, let's go back to the BMesh. So we're going to do plus, and plus. Alright, I think that is it for that. But let's flip this thing. So negative becomes positive, positive becomes negative. And then the universe was born, so they say. Alright. Quantum physics. Alright, X. And that all looks right. So this right here, distance, I think that might be the option that will clear up those doubles. Geometry, so distance. Minimum distance when testing if vert is exactly on the plane. No, I don't want to mess with that. Geometry. Let's see here. Clear doubles. Does this return back anything? Return type dictionary string. Yeah, so let's do RET equals. And I'm going to print that out. Print RET. This Blender's kind of looking like it's got some buggy issues. I'm just close it real quick. Whenever I see too many errors, I just close it because I'm like thinking, you know, this shouldn't have that many errors. I mean, it doesn't, but I just don't like a nasty looking terminal, you know. Okay, we'll just keep it simple. Well, you know what? We won't keep it simple. We'll go in here with the monkey because it's got a bunch of junk in there. Geometry. All right. Object has an attribute axis. Are you kidding me? We're back to saying it doesn't work again. All we did was change the letter. Oh, now I have to update the default. Dang. All right. So we printed whatever it returned back. So I just want to print, what was that? Okay, let's just print the keys. All right, geom cut and geom. So I'm going to work with geom cut. So what we can do is say for element in, let's do RET geom cut. This is a good way to test what is actually being returned. For element return geom cut, we'll say elem.select equals true. That's how you can select stuff. Let's make sure ensure BMesh. Whoops. Ensure BMesh is called on this method right here. We'll say ensure, which obviously. Alright. I just want to make sure we're doing our select flush method since I'm selecting stuff now. Boom. Alright, that's our GM cut right there. Alright. So we just need to, I wonder what we could do. I wonder if there's one more method or something, or like one more thing in here. Clear outer, clear inner. Alright. It's just weird that it's GM cut. Output geometry aligned with the plane, new and existing. Input geometry. Let's just try updating this distance one time. Use snap center. Snap axis align verts to the center. I don't know what that means. Snap axis aligned verts. There's like no such thing. I mean, what's an axis aligned vert, you know? Because like a vert is just a point in space. How is it axis aligned? Okay, so let's just update this to 0.01. See if that doesn't get rid of some of that extra geometry it's creating. Monkey. There's no extra geometry to start with. And that did get rid of it. Why would that get rid of it? Well, it did. So minimum distance when testing if a vert is exactly on the plane. I don't understand how, you know. I'm not sure I get why that parameter means that. If it's, I guess that's the tolerance because this is right on the plane. You know what? Whatever. Boom. And now we need to say we need to just make this thing mirror. And we also don't need to select it anymore. Alright, so I guess that's good. I'm going to say well, you could do 0.001, and that's probably still going to be accurate. Let's see, remove doubles. One vertex removed. Let me back up, and let's try 0.01. 0.01. Go to edit mode. One vertex removed. Well, I think this is just going to be, I'm just testing our tolerance here because, you know, I don't want like, let's do this. I'm going to subdivide it, apply that subdivision, visual geometry to mesh, and then run it, and then see if it removes any doubles with it more dense. So it's passing the test at this level, and I'll even do it one more time. That's super dense. Let's see. 0 verts removed. I think we have plenty of accuracy. Alright, and I don't need the return info. No mo. Alright, now let's do one other thing. So this is slice. And this right here is going to be modifier. Modifier. So we'll say obj.modifiers.new, and we'll say name equals mirror, and type equals mirror. Come on. There we go. Mirror equals. I'm just going to capture that. It returns back the modifier. So mirror dot axes. What is this thing? Mirror dot. Does it have anything on it? What I'm going to do is just go to Blender. This is an easy way to check stuff. Just go into Blender and add in something. Get it to the point where you know your code is at, what you're testing. So I'm going to do generate mirror, and then watch the info panel right down here. So see that? That's what it's going to be. So if we did c.activeObject.modifiers, and then we get the first one, because that's the only one, and then we can say, so I'll say m equals, so mod m equals, there's the mirror modifier. We can just say .use axes, and let's see what that is. Let's see if we can set it to a tuple. That's really what I want to know. Okay, it's not going to let that happen. Well, maybe we got to do true, false, false, like that. That works. Let's see if we can, if it really worked or it just gave up. No, it does work. Alright, so this is going to be the trick. We're going to have to set flip if it's negative though. Alright. So we'll say if self.axis is equal to, dang, there's going to be a lot of if checks. We'll have to do it all over again, huh? I'll just copy this. I mean, you can check and see if there's a plus or a negative in there, that sort of thing. But it's not really that big a deal. Let's just do a quick check. And this will be self.axis. You know, like you could say X and then just mirror.axis X is true, but then if it's negative, do the flip. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I can think of easier ways to do this, or like things that are more, what is this thing called again? Use axis. Axis, like that. Use axis. I'm spelling it right. Use axis. Alright, so that'll be true, false, false. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying a second ago. Something about something. Anyway, oh, the flip. You could just say, like, you know, self.axis. You could say like if X in self.axis, then just set this part, and then you could say if, you know, negative in self.axis, then you could check for the, then you could just set the flip. But regardless, it doesn't really matter, and you have to have bisect on to flip it anyway. So we're not even going to have to worry about it. So if you cut the negative side, how would it flip? How would you mirror it though? So let's see something here. I'm just going to delete that, add a cube in there, and we'll go to KTools. Alright, so it deleted that side, and we'll do generate mirror X. That's good. Now if you do this and you do negative X, then you'll have to do generate mirror. I mean, how does it know to take it to that other side? How does it know? I don't know. Damn, what? That's got me a little confused. So if I delete this side, all right, so I deleted the right hand side and I add a mirror. It flipped it from the left to the right. But if I delete the left hand side and then run the mirror, it puts it to the other side. I guess what it's doing is it doesn't really matter. If you put something on the left, yeah, I get what it's doing. Whatever geometry is on the left, it goes to the right. Whatever geometry is on the right, it goes to the left. All right, I got it. I knew that. I still didn't get the parameter I needed. So let's do, well, do we need the flip? No, we said we didn't need the flip. So we'll just check if X, well, we'll say if X in, and that's all we gotta do. We ain't gotta worry about negative anymore. This is easy peasy then. Alright. I'm gonna delete this junk right here. It's just gonna get too complicated. And it's only gonna be this right here. elif x, y, and then we'll set this one to false, true. Then we'll say elif z, so delta axis, cut that, false, and true. True, true, true. An identity matrix of truths. Okay. X, Y, Z. Let's see if we got this thing figured out. Alright. KTools. So here we go. I'm in the front view. Boom. Looks like nothing happened, but, you know, now we got our mirror set up. And, yeah, let me check this box. Clipping. Alright, scripting. Let's just go clipping. Use clip. And we'll say mirror dot use clip equals true. And for some reason I just really want to put that down at the bottom because I don't want geometry to mirror with clipping already on. I don't know, just from, it probably wouldn't matter. Okay, so here we go. And testing. Yeah, I think this little add-on already works. So let's try it with a monkey. We'll put it over here, scale it crazy. We'll scale it kind of crazy like this. We'll add in an empty. I always check everything with a shear. That's a real good way to tell if something's not working right. So that's got a scale on it, right? And then scale this one on a certain axis, and it will give it a shear. So let's see what we get. Boom. Alright, and now let's go in and clear everything. And make sure, yeah, it's working good. Okay, so yeah, it passed the shear test. That's like the ultimate test, basically. What that would look like if you had like a box, cube, we'll just parent this right here. And so if you rotate this, just say something like that, and I scale this, see how it's shearing it? That's a shear. Alright, and if you rotate it, it gets really weird. It's like a hallucination. It's like drunk. Way too drunk, which I don't drink. I don't really even do drugs anymore. So, alright, looks good. Looks like this thing's gonna work out for us. And you know, in the next update to this little video series I might do right here, I think what I'm gonna do is add in some other modifiers and maybe go from there. Especially like you know, a little easy panel for this. These weights mark, you know, where you can mark the different data. I want to do something with that. Control V. You got vertex crease on the edges. On the edges, you got bevel weight, edge crease, mark seam, mark sharp. It's kind of nice to have like a little panel that pops up in edit mode, and you just kind of set the value and click it, and boom, it's there. Or clear all of them, or you know, calculate all of them based on their angles. Some of that stuff would be easy. And definitely want to add in another spot for maybe doing some booleans and stuff, and actually add some hotkeys, because I don't know, I don't really use add-ons from other people that often anymore, just because stuff has gotten too crazy. But some things aren't just as simple as they need to be anymore. But anyway, might do like, you know, the classic bool tool, control minus, and then get it to do a boolean. And so anyway, I think I'll look at some of that for the next video, and I'll see you there. And by the way, if you want to learn how to do this, like step by step, truly, try to drop down and get the course if you don't mind. I'll see y'all later though.